Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how to save money on groceries, which is something I've been wanting to do for a while, especially right now because prices on everything have really gone up and groceries are so freaking expensive. So I'm going to share my tips of how you can really cut your grocery budget down and the things that I have personally learned myself that I use to feed my family of 5 for about $100 a week. Tip number 1 is going to be to coupon for your household and personal care items. We don't really get that many coupons on actual food, so I coupon for my household and personal care goods. If you're couponing for all of your detergent, your toilet paper, paper towels, toothpaste, shampoo, body wash, the list goes on, then you don't have to add those items to your weekly list. This was one thing that I really learned back in my very early years of being a wife and mother. We were on a single income and money was very tight. My husband would get paid every 2 weeks, and after we paid all of our bills, we were left with about $150 for groceries and gas and diapers and everything that we needed for 2 entire weeks. I remember sitting down and writing a grocery list, and it was so frustrating because we were out of toilet paper, I was out of shampoo, and those things had to go on the list, but they're so expensive, and that took up money that I could have been spending on food. So now that I'm couponing for those items, they don't even go on my list. I'm really only buying them when they're free or dirt cheap. And I have enough in my stockpile that I really don't have to buy it if I don't need it. Like if money got really tight, I'm good for a while. And we do get coupons and rebates for grocery items, but just not near as much as what we do for these items. So it really is about saving money where you can and freeing up room in your grocery budget to spend on food. So if you're interested in learning how to coupon, you're in the right freaking place because that is what my channel is about. I have a couple different videos about how to get started couponing, so I will link them down below if you want to check them out for pretty much everything you need to know to get started. It's a lot easier than you might think. You really only need your phone to coupon in this day and age because so many things are going digital, so I promise you can do it and it's not going to take that much time. Tip number 2 is going to be create a budget. This is going to vary person to person and it's going to depend on like how many family members are in your household and just your specific needs for your diet. I think the golden rule is like $100 per month per person in your family. I go a little bit lower than that because I don't have to put things like household and personal care items on my list. So I like to stick around $100 a week, although that is getting a little bit harder with inflation, but that's usually where I like to be, and I have a family of 5. Also keep in mind that it's gonna depend on the ages of your kids. I have a family of 5, but my kids are ages 8 and under. If you have teenagers, they're gonna eat a little bit more, so adjust accordingly there. And it might be something that you just have to play around with. You know, if you're currently spending $250 a week on groceries, maybe try spending $200 and then maybe cut it down to $150 and just kind of see where the magic spot is for your family. Tip number 3 is create a meal plan. This is so important, and I honestly didn't realize before I started incorporating all of this how important meal planning is, but it really does make a difference, I promise. So what you're gonna do is sit down, get a piece of paper or make a list on your phone, write out the dinners that you want to make for that week. Now I shop week by week, so I'm shopping for 7 nights, but I'm actually only gonna write 5 dinners down on my list. And that is because one of those nights of the week I'm gonna write in that we can eat out. Do you have to eat out every week? Heck no. It's gonna depend on your budget and your preferences, of course. Then the other night that I'm not planning a dinner for would either be like a leftover night or a fend for yourself night where you literally just eat whatever we have. I mean, you can eat a bowl of cereal. I am definitely one of those moms that is okay with having cereal for dinner every once in a while, or maybe we'll make like a breakfast for dinner with eggs or whatever we have that needs used up. So I am planning 5 dinners for the week. Now, when you're planning these dinners, it is very important to be strategic about which meals you pick. If you are just sitting down and writing out 5 dinners that sound good to you, you're probably gonna be spending more money. What you wanna do is shop from your pantry first and your fridge and freezer. Look around, see what items you already have on hand that you could use to make meals so that they don't go to waste list, and that's going to really minimize the number of items that you have to put on your shopping list. If you want, you can make a list of the things that you have that you could use up. That way you could sit down and kind of put ingredients together to make a meal out of. Another thing that you want to consider when you're planning out your meals, try to find some meals that have common ingredients. Let's say we're gonna do a taco night. For the tacos, I need to buy a tub of sour cream and some shredded cheese. I'm not going to use a whole tub of sour cream and a whole bag of shredded cheese just for tacos. So I need to plan some kind of meal that's gonna use up the rest of the sour cream and cheese. Just another way to minimize the number of items that you are writing on your shopping list. So when you're planning, shop from your pantry, try to use up what you already have on hand, and plan meals that have common ingredients so that you're not shopping for as many items. Tip number 6 is going to be bulk up your meals and make them stretch. It is cheaper to make a little extra of a particular meal than to buy the ingredients for 2 separate meals. I used to do this a lot, especially when we were on a very, very low income. I learned how to make a meal stretch. One thing that you can do is if you're planning a spaghetti night, I would usually use 1 pound of ground beef with one like standard 24-ounce jar of pasta sauce. But when you want to make the meal stretch, add a little bit more pasta sauce. It doesn't cost that much more to buy a little bit bigger of a jar. You're still gonna have your meat in there. I'm the type of person that has to have meat in their spaghetti. Like, I cannot stand it if there's no meat. Buy a little bit more sauce and a little bit more noodles, and boom, you turned 1 night's worth of spaghetti into 2 nights worth. Another good meal for this is chili, and oh my gosh, I am so excited for fall and to make chili again. I can make a giant pot of chili for like between 10 to 12 bucks, and it would easily last us for like 2 to 3 meals. Another idea would be if you're making tacos, instead of just making it with ground beef and taco seasoning, you can add other things into the meat to make it last longer. You could add in beans and rice. Those are pretty cheap items, and you can just throw them into the meat. It's gonna make the meat last a lot longer, and you're gonna get more tacos out of it. You could even double up on a recipe if you're already buying the ingredients to make something and you're not necessarily gonna use all of the ingredients on just making it that one time. Make it twice. Eat one of the meals for dinner that night and then put the other one in the freezer for another night. And that brings me to my next tip, which is don't be afraid of leftovers. You definitely want to incorporate some leftovers, and you can do this in your dinners. So instead of planning out 5 dinners, you could plan out 3 and then have 2 leftover nights. What I like to do though is plan leftovers for lunch. Lunch is my biggest problem area because I get tired of the standard cold meat sandwich and all of that stuff. I don't really enjoy freezer meals that much, but also at the same time, like, I don't like cooking for lunch. I'm working during the day, back and forth taking my kids to and from school because they go at all different times. I don't want to cook for lunch. My solution is plan leftovers for lunch. That way we can just heat up whatever we had for dinner the night before, and it's super yummy and it doesn't really take me much time. Plus, because you're having leftovers for lunch, that eliminates pretty much all of the items that you would need to shop for lunch from your list. Now, another thing that I like to do when I'm making my list and planning my meals is to kind of categorize my budget. So I will have like a dinner budget. When I'm planning my meals, I try to keep it under $10 per night. So if I'm planning 5 dinners and I'm doing $10 per night, that's $50 max for the whole week of dinners. So I have a $100 grocery budget, 50 of that is going to be dinners, and then the other 50 can go towards lunch, even though I'm not really buying many items for lunch because we're gonna be eating leftovers. I might buy a few things because my kids like to eat PB&Js and SpaghettiOs and stuff like that, but I'm not really gonna be spending much on lunch for that. And then like breakfast items, which that is one thing that couponing does help with because we do get to coupon for cereal. That kind of helps with my grocery budget a little bit if I have cereal in my stockpile. And then whatever is left over after breakfast and lunch, we can spend on snacks and drinks. Now, the most important tip of all, and they're all pretty important, but this one is a big one, write a list with prices. I think it's pretty common knowledge that if you go into the store without a list, you're gonna buy way more than you anticipated or planned on buying. If I go grocery shopping without a list, I can easily spend double what my budget is and not even get all the things that I actually need. It's very important to write a list down, but it's also just as important to write prices on your list before you go to the store. And the reason that I say to do this is meal planning can be very strategic, you know, trying to make sure that you're getting everything that you need within budget. If you just just write down a list of all the things you need and you have no idea how much that list is going to cost, you could be over budget and you're not going to realize that until you get to the store, and then you have to put things back and try to rework things on your list in the store. I don't like doing that. I like to make sure everything is planned out to a T before I leave the house. It's just a lot easier. Now, another thing that you can do instead of this is to order your groceries online for pickup. Like at Walmart, they do free pickup if you have like a $35 plus order. And that's really easy because obviously you can see how much you're spending before you place your order, and then you can go pick it up. It's also really beneficial because if you're not going to the store, you're not going to be tempted to buy all of the things in the bakery that are so tempting. Another thing that you want to pay attention to when you're writing out your list is the sales. Look through the weekly sales ad at the store that you're shopping at. This is going to depend on what stores you have near you. If you have like a Kroger or a Publix or an Aldi, I'm really jealous of you. My town only has a Walmart. But if you're shopping at a grocery store that does have a weekly sales ad, definitely look through that while you're writing your list, because if you are planning fruit for the week, see what fruits they have on sale. Like I know a lot of times Aldi will have their strawberries or their blueberries on sale for like $1.49, and that's a really great price. So maybe if they're on sale that week, pick strawberries for your fruit. Just give the weekly ad a quick look through and see if you can kind of incorporate that into your list. Also keep in mind that different items are gonna be on sale at different times of the year. So strawberries, for instance, they're really gonna be the cheapest in the spring because that's when they're beginning to go in season. Baking goods are gonna be on sale like in the winter time before the holidays, so like November, December. Different things have different sales cycles, and you can look up charts for that on Google to see what's on sale when. But just kind of pay attention to that, and if you can find a really good sale on something, try to work it into your budget to buy a little extra of that item to put back for later. If it's produce, there's a lot of things that you can freeze. I'm not sure what all you can freeze, but if you can do that and save it for later, that's really gonna save you money, because the next time you need that item, it might not be on sale anymore, and then you're gonna be paying more. It's like the same concept of couponing. You know, when we find an item at a rock bottom price, we need to buy a little bit extra of that to save us money down the road. Also, if you can buy your items in bulk, that's gonna save you money too. Ground beef, for instance, if you buy the bigger rolls of it, it's cheaper by the pound. So one thing that we would do is buy like the big 10-pound roll of beef at Walmart. It's not the best quality meat, but when you're on a budget, it works. So we would take that roll, cut it up into individual pounds, and then stick each pound into a freezer bag. Then you take like a rolling pin and roll it flat, seal it up, put it in the freezer. It stacks really nicely so it doesn't take up a whole lot of room. And then you have beef in your freezer for several meals. Okay, we're gonna do an example meal plan together just so I can show you guys how I would do this and how the process works. So the first thing that I've done is I've gotten out a piece of paper and I've written down things that I have in my pantry, fridge, and freezer that I need to use up and incorporate into some meals. So that is the very first step. Now we're gonna write in 5 slots for dinners, because that's how many dinners we're gonna be planning this week. So we're basically gonna plug and chug and try to use up all of these ingredients into some meals. So right off the bat, I have spaghetti noodles, so we're gonna make some spaghetti. And I do have some bread, so if I don't have it in budget that week to buy some actual garlic bread, of course it's cheaper to make your own, so you could use the bread and make your own garlic bread. So we'll put in some garlic bread. For the spaghetti, I'm gonna need to buy ground beef for that. And I looked this up on the Walmart website so I could get prices. That's very important to do. So you can see that a single pound of ground beef is $4.08. This is if you buy the 73% lean, which I understand not everybody's gonna wanna do, but when you're on a strict budget, you go for the cheapest meat. So it's $4.08 for 1 pound, but if I buy the 3 pound, it is $3.82 per pound, so $11.46 for that. You could go even cheaper if you want to buy bigger packs of it. Like if you get the 5-pound pack, it's only $3.44 a pound, and the 10-pound pack is $2.86 a pound, which is a great price. So if you have it in budget, stock up, cut them up into individual pounds, put them in freezer bags, roll them flat with a rolling pin, and put it in your freezer. But for this example, we're just gonna buy the 3-pound roll for $11.46, and we're gonna plan 3 different dinners that involve ground beef. So for another dinner that involves ground beef, I see that I have some corn and sour cream, so I'm thinking tacos. So we'll write in tacos and corn. Then then for the third ground beef meal, I'm thinking burgers because those are pretty cheap, and most of the toppings that we use for burgers are staples that I already have on hand. So we really wouldn't have to buy a whole lot to make some burgers. So we're gonna put in burgers plus some type of veggie. Now that takes care of all the ground beef that we're buying. So for the fourth meal, I have chicken broth, so I could make potato soup with that, and potatoes are actually a really cheap thing because you can make multiple meals out of it. Like if I buy a bag of potatoes, I'm not gonna use the whole bag for the soup, so I can use the other half for one of my kids' favorite meals, which is sausage, potatoes, and green beans. And we can have some buttered bread with that as well. There's our dinners for the week. The next step is gonna be to write out a shopping list. So we're gonna go through each dinner and write out everything we need to shop for, leaving out the things that we already have on hand. Okay, so now that I have all of my ingredients written out that I need to buy, I'm gonna go through and write the prices for each item next to it. That way I know how much I'm spending and if I'm within budget. Okay, so now we have all of our prices written down. I wrote $2.88 for the cream cheese. That is for a 2-pack of blocks. I only need 1 block for my potato soup, but it's $1.94 if I only buy 1. So I'm just gonna go ahead and buy 2 for $2.88, and then we'll just put the block that we don't use back for a future meal. We also have some onion on here, which we're gonna use about half of that for the potato soup. Then we can throw the rest in our tacos or on our burgers. And then shredded cheese is a common ingredient between 2 meals because we're using about half the bag for the tacos and the other half for the potato soup. Then of course for the potatoes, we're using half for the soup and half for the sausage, potatoes, and green beans. But now what we're gonna do is add up all of these prices and see where that puts us. So that puts us at $35.17 for everything. And if we divide that up by night, it is $7.03 per dinner. That is definitely within budget. I would personally cap this number out at $50 because we're doing $10 max per night. You would have room to customize this. You could add in additional sides or toppings for your tacos and burgers. You customize this however you want, just as long as you set a budget for yourself and stick within that budget. Plus, if you think about it, we're only spending $35 for our dinners that week, but that's also covering most of our lunches because we're gonna be using leftovers for lunch. Now, I will still pick up a few things for lunch because we might not have quite enough leftovers to cover the whole week of lunches. Now that we know how much we're spending on dinner, which tends to be the most expensive part of a grocery list, we're spending only $35, so we know that the rest of the $65 budget we can spend on breakfast, snacks, and whatever few items that I decide to pick up for lunch. Okay, so I took a second to write that in, just kind of planning out what our breakfast and lunch is going to be for the week. So we're doing cereal, oatmeal, eggs, and sausage for breakfast, and then leftovers for lunch mostly, plus some peanut butter and jelly and turkey sandwiches. So what I did was I wrote down all the ingredients for that on the back of the page here. So we have oatmeal, eggs, and sausage links for breakfast. For our sandwiches, we're picking up some more bread, peanut butter, jelly, and turkey meat. I also like to have cottage cheese and pickles with my turkey sandwiches. Just, it's a thing. They have to go together. Then I'm also gonna grab some milk that we're gonna need for the week, especially for cereal. Kids like to drink juice, so we're gonna pick up some of that. Then for just like some snacky items, I have yogurt, bananas, carrots, peas, strawberries, cantaloupe didn't look like it was too badly priced this week, and then some string cheese. So if we add all of this up, including the price for the dinner portion, our grand total comes to $79.23. So well under budget. I have about $21 left if I want to add some more things. You know, you customize it, but this is an example of how I would meal plan and then write my grocery list. My final tip for you is to use rebate apps. I feel like this is so underestimated, but they're free to use and you can really earn a ton of cash back on items you're already buying, like you're already grocery shopping. So the concept with this is after you do your shopping, you're gonna scan your receipt on your phone to these apps and they're gonna give you cash back for buying specific products. Ibotta's my favorite one because they have the widest variety of offers. Like they seriously have a ton. I can always find at least a few things on Ibotta that I am shopping for that week that I can earn cash back on. Another good one is Fetch Rewards because that one is really really easy. They don't have as many offers as Ibotta, but Fetch Rewards will give you points for any receipt. So you don't necessarily have to buy specific products with Fetch. You just scan a receipt and you get 25 points for every receipt. There's also Shopkick, Swagbucks. These are all apps that I personally use myself. So with these apps, once you reach a certain threshold, the threshold depends on the app, they're either gonna give you cash back that you can then send to your PayPal, or you can get a gift card. You could get a gift card for Walmart if you shop at Walmart for your groceries, and then use that gift card to help pay for your next grocery trip. You're doing the shopping anyways, definitely scan your receipts. Don't just throw them away. You're throwing money down the drain. Every little bit adds up. Use that to help pay for your groceries and really just get that cost down. A lot of these apps will also offer referral programs. So if you like the app and you want to refer your friends and family, heck, do it. You're gonna earn bonus points for referring them, and then that's more gift cards for you. So I will have all of the links for these apps down below in the description box if you would like to use my links. It does help me out a little bit if you sign up with my referral code or my link or whatever, and it helps you out too because you get certain bonuses for using my links. And that is all of my tips, I think. I got everything out that I wanted to say. So let me know if you have any questions, and if you have any other tips that I did not mention in this video, feel free to share it in the comments. The more we know, the better. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.